Book 2. Flooded Foundations Arc. The waves crashed against stone as the handyman walked to the edge of the broken coast. The air smelled like rust and salt, and the horizon shimmered with faint blue cracks. The fairy hovered beside him, her glow dim in the mist. He sighed. "You said north. You didn't mention drowning." She smiled faintly. "The next fracture lies below. The sea swallowed it years ago." He looked out across the water, shaking his head. "I fix leaky pipes, not underwater ruins." The fairy turned toward him, her tone soft. "The deeper the crack, the older the wound. If we don't repair it, the world won't hold much longer." He crouched beside a half-buried column, the stone humming beneath his touch. It pulsed faintly, light traveling through veins like blood. He felt it in his bones, the same heartbeat as the world above. He whispered, "This planet's alive, and it's in pain." The fairy nodded. "Then listen to it. Every repair, every seal, it remembers." He stood, rolling his shoulders. "All right, let's get wet." They entered the water. The sea was colder than he expected. Heavy, dark, and still. Only faint shafts of light broke through the surface, bending across ruins far below. He adjusted his wrench, now glowing brighter under pressure. The fairy's voice echoed in the water. "Your tools, they're changing again." He looked at the wrench, its surface rippling like liquid metal. "Guess they're evolving faster than I am." They swam deeper, passing statues half buried in coral. Old buildings leaned sideways, windows glowing from inside like trapped stars. The world below the surface was hauntingly beautiful and broken. A soft hum filled the water. He followed it to a massive stone gate, sealed by a web of glowing fractures. "This must be it," he said. "The next core." The fairy's wings flickered brighter. "If we open it, we can access the heart of the sea." He cracked a grin. "You make it sound so simple." He placed his wrench against the gate. The metal pulsed once, then the entire wall responded, lighting up in concentric rings. A deep rumble echoed through the ocean. He pulled his hand back. That didn't sound good. From below, the water churned. A tremor rolled through the ruins, stirring clouds of sand. Something massive shifted in the darkness. The fairy's glow dimmed. "It's awake." He turned slowly. "What's awake?" A single eye opened beneath them, huge, glowing like molten glass. Then another, and another. He whispered, "That's not a door." The water exploded. A creature rose from the depths. Scales cracked with light, jaws lined with crystal teeth. Its roar shook the sea. The handyman tumbled backward, clutching his wrench. The fairy screamed, "The Leviathan, the first guardian!" He coughed through bubbles. "Fantastic, you summoned a sea monster." The toolbox's muffled voice rumbled from his belt. "Quit talking. Start fixing." He steadied himself, eyes wide. The creature's skin glowed with the same fractures he'd been repairing for days. It wasn't just alive. It was infected by the same sickness spreading through the world. The fairy pointed. "The cracks on its scales, they're the source." He nodded grimly. "Then we patch the patient." He gripped his wrench, now radiating light like a beacon. The ocean shimmered with energy as he charged toward the monster's glowing scars. Each swing of his tool sealed a fracture, but the Leviathan thrashed harder each time. "You're hurting it!" the fairy cried. He yelled back, "I'm trying to heal it." The Leviathan's roar split the water. Currents tore through the ruins, dragging him deeper. His chest burned, his body heavy, but he didn't stop. He sealed one more crack and then another. The fairy's voice echoed faintly through the chaos. "It's working us, but it's fighting back." He grinned through the pain. "Welcome to every plumbing job ever." The Leviathan dove, dragging him into total darkness. The pressure crushed in around him, but his tools glowed brighter, forming a faint bubble of air around his head. He gasped. "Guess that's my new dive gear." Below him, the ocean floor began to split, light spilling out like veins bursting open. He looked down and whispered, "That's not supposed to happen." The fairy's voice trembled. "The fracture goes deeper than the sea." He glanced at his toolbox. "Any ideas?" The voice inside growled, "Yeah, don't die before you finish the job." He tightened his grip on the wrench and faced the glowing abyss below. The water trembled. The Leviathan roared again, vanishing into the deep. He took a slow breath. Round two, then. He dove after it, swallowed by the dark. The ocean swallowed him whole. No sound, no surface, just the hum of the deep. His wrench glowed faintly, the only light in the endless dark. Tiny air bubbles drifted past his face like fireflies lost underwater. He whispered, "If this doesn't work, I'm haunting that fairy." The toolbox replied, voice crackling through the water. "Focus, rookie. We're in the heart zone now." The water trembled. Below, a pulse of blue light rippled outward, massive, rhythmic. The heartbeat of the Leviathan. The fairy's glow appeared beside him, flickering with strain. Her voice was small. "It's not attacking anymore. It's calling for help." He frowned. Big difference between crying and crushing me. They descended further. The water thinned into a strange stillness, the pressure easing like an exhale. And there it was. The Leviathan coiled around a broken spire of stone, its body covered in cracks that bled light. He floated closer, eyes wide. The creature wasn't roaring now. It was breathing weakly. The fairy touched the air near its head. It's trapped between two layers of the fracture. The deeper half is bleeding energy into it. He tightened his grip on the wrench. "So we patch the leak fast." The fairy shook her head. "If you seal it wrong, the entire ocean's energy flow will collapse. No pressure." He smirked. "You clearly don't know plumbers." He swam to the nearest wound, a glowing rift along the Leviathan's scales the size of a bus. Each pulse of light burned through the water, vibrating the wrench in his hand. He whispered to himself, "All right, big guy, hold still." He pressed the wrench to the fracture. It hummed, the same sound as every broken pipe he'd fixed, but deeper, older. His tools responded, unfolding in new shapes, clamps of light, seals made of sound. The Leviathan shuddered. A low growl rumbled through the water. The fairy hovered nearby. "It's waking again." He grunted. "Then we better fix it before it gets angry." He worked faster. Each seal dimmed one glowing crack. With every patch, the Leviathan's breathing slowed, steadier now, calmer. He paused. "See? Not so bad. Just needed a little TLC." The toolbox muttered, "Don't jinx it." The ground rumbled. A new light erupted from below, not from the Leviathan, but from the abyss beneath. The fairy's face went pale. "The core is destabilizing." He looked down. The ocean floor was splitting open, a gash of light tearing through the world itself. Energy rose like a storm. The Leviathan roared, not in rage, but warning. He shouted over the turbulence, "It's protecting the crack! It's been holding it shut!" The fairy yelled, "Then when you fixed its scales, I loosened the seal." The ocean exploded with motion. Currents dragged them toward the open rift, spinning them into chaos. He grabbed onto the Leviathan's horn, shouting through clenched teeth, "All right, big guy. If you want to keep this place together, we're doing it my way." He raised the wrench high. The light along its handle flared, bright enough to cut through the sea like dawn. He plunged it into the rift below. Instantly, the light connected with the Leviathan's own. Energy surged between them, the creature and the man locked together by purpose. The fairy shielded her face, crying out, "You'll burn out!" He shouted back, "Then at least it'll be a clean fix." The wrench vibrated violently, splitting into multiple streams of light. Each beam connected to one of the Leviathan's scars, forming a glowing lattice, a massive web of repair energy. The ocean shook. The rift began to close, inch by inch. The fairy whispered, awed, "He's sinking with it." But then, silence. The light snapped off. Everything went black. He floated, limp, drifting through the dark. The fairy's glow dimmed as she darted toward him. "Handyman, wake up!" No response. The Leviathan turned its head slightly, one massive eye flickering open. It gazed at the unconscious human before it, then released a low, echoing hum. That sound rippled through the water, like the deep breath of an old god. The cracks on its body sealed completely, glowing softly one last time before fading. It exhaled, releasing a current that carried both the man and the fairy gently upward. Moments later, he coughed, gasping for air as they broke the surface. The ocean around them was calm again, still, mirror-like. He blinked up at the sky. Did we win? The fairy smiled weakly. You didn't just fix it. You connected to it. He frowned. Meaning? She pointed down toward the water. The Leviathan marked you. He looked at his arm. Lines of faint blue light traced his veins, the same glow as the creature's scales. He groaned. Great. Now I'm part aquarium. The fairy chuckled softly. You're part of the world now, whether you like it or not. He leaned back, floating on the calm water, eyes on the horizon. Guess that means the next repair won't be any easier. The toolbox bobbed beside him, muttering, You think? The fairy smirked. Next fracture's not in the sea. He turned his head. Then where? She pointed toward the sky, where faint cracks glimmered among the clouds. He sighed. Fantastic, now we're fixing the weather.